Welcome to the secondary break, Sweet 16 edition.
Sweet 16 edition. I like the sound of that.
Let's go.
Let's
Game
go.
ended 37 seconds ago. I haven't even looked at the box score. This is knee-jerk reactions, and I'll pull up the box score. But we survived, take down Michigan State, which incredibly difficult game. All first round, second round, whatever you want to call it, NCAA tournament, it is incredibly difficult to make the tournament. So it's a given, challenging game, and what a massive win for the program on so many levels. We're going to break it down. I'm Graham Bunn. This is Zach Talitsky. This is the secondary break. If you enjoy Carolina content, especially men's basketball, there might be some other plans in the works. Please like and subscribe. Everyone tells me that is super important, and I'm not doing a great job with that. If you do, love you so much. If you don't, love you so much anyway. I know there's a million things you could be watching. We never thought anybody would watch this. We just like talking about Carolina basketball. So if you like Carolina basketball content, this is a good spot to subscribe to. All right, we take down Michigan State 85-69. A lot of things to get into. Again, the game just ended, so I haven't pulled up like the exact box score. I'm going to pull it up as we're talking. Initial reaction, thoughts, how you feeling? I would imagine you're on cloud nine just like me. But in the grander scheme of things, let's break down moving forward. Tomorrow's a big day. I think does Bama play today or tomorrow? Because we play the winner of the Bama game tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
Grand
so we got some
Canyon,
time
Bama.
to sit with it. Yep. We got some time to sit with it. I believe it's going to be Alabama, but topic of conversation for a little bit later on in the show. Initial reaction, how you feeling?
I feel incredible. Getting to the Sweet 16 is so much fun. Getting to hang around for another weekend. Leaving Charlotte to come out to LA and your neck of the woods.
Yeah, man. So what time's the flight leave, bro?
I've got to look into that.
Okay.
But I mean, more than anything, I'm just thrilled with how they played. I mean, I thought Michigan State played very well. And they obviously came out, hit us with a punch, made just about everything. Same in the second half. You knew that Izzo would get them focused and fired up. To me, this was not a situation where, we caught a team that was down or flat. I think I've not watched a ton of Michigan State this year, so I don't know if that's their best shot.
Sure.
But certainly I think they played very well. They shot the ball pretty well, shot their almost 38% from three. And they were making a bunch of turnarounds. Their post guys, I thought, played particularly well. So this is just one. I think we said on our preview show that good versus good. We thought we would win, and I think it turned out that way. I just didn't expect us to win by 16. So this was, to me, championship Final Four level play. And great to see that the team came in focused and ready to perform like that. Just thrilled as a fan to get to sit and watch that on this stage.
Yeah, two things stood out to me, and I know you and I, we actually took a call. We usually do not do that during the game, but again, it goes without saying. It's the NCAA tournament, survive in advance. If you lose, you go home. Same thing for us. So I called you during the game. And it was the initial, I do believe, and again, hopefully this is not the case moving forward, that they took the fight to us. I think that they came out, they established what they wanted to establish early. And you and I had discussed on a phone call, and I feel very strongly about this as being in certain huddles, that Hubert Davis deserves a lot of credit because he did like a, kind of a cutaway. I think it was before the 8-minute, or right after the 8-minute timeout, media timeout. And he could not wait. He fulfilled his obligation. I don't think he wanted to do that interview at all. He wanted to get in the huddle and talk to the team. And he was riled up. I think he lit a flame under everyone's ass and was like, look, I don't care if we lose as far as we go out there and we stand our ground and we give us our best. We're not giving our best. You're allowing them to do this, this, and this. These are things that we can control. Correct it or I'll correct it. And that's what I got from the small snippet that we saw, the interview he gave, to him moving someone out of the way to sit down in the huddle and just lie or lay into everybody. And so I want to say, Hubert, I love you because I was insanely worried. And two, to the team that responded to that uppercut, to that punch, and didn't start freaking out and throwing up things and grasping for straws. Unfortunately, my college career ended. I think we were down 13 at halftime. We went into the locker room, and I'll never be able to live this down. I was the team captain. I was team MVP, all those things that go along with being a good player. Everyone screaming at each other, pointing fingers like, we can't allow this. This is a team that we had beaten on their home court, University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. They ended up running some boxing one on me. And like, I kind of was a non-factor in the first half, and we're down 13. And I remember thinking that everybody was overreacting to being down 13. There was so much time left. We had not played well. They threw a defense at us that we weren't ready for. At one point, it was a box and one. I hit 2 threes. Or it was a triangle and 2. I hit 2 threes. They went to a box and one. Sorry for the flex. But the point is, Carolina didn't freak out. We freaked out and lost by 30. The game was over. We came out. We're throwing up threes. We're trying to get everything back in one play. Carolina didn't do that. And so I was uber sensitive to the way that the team responded because, Armando's been there 5 years. You get down 12, you start to panic. This is it. My career's over, blah, blah, blah. And they didn't do that. I thought it was the resilience that they showed was amazing. And I wish at that age that I could have been more of a leader to impose that kind of calmness on my team. And I thought that was incredible. And I think will prove to be an asset for us moving forward.
Yeah, we see it every year. We see it every tournament. Higher seeded teams, they get behind. The other team comes out hot, and then they get tight and they sort of lose focus. They stop executing, and then it snowballs. And it can happen quickly in these tournament settings, particularly against really well coached teams like Michigan State. So you're right. The fact that Hubert was able to, during that timeout, light a fire, and the fact that the team responded, and then we went on that run to they had to feel going into the half like, wow, what just happened? Like we came out and played really well, and you're looking up and you're down 9. Now
was it 17-0 run? Is that right? At one point in time?
Yeah. And so to their credit, they, I think, had another run to start the second half as well. So they certainly didn't roll over, but the fact that Hubert was able to do that, get him focused, was incredible. Let's run through while we're saying Hubert's praises for a second. Let's run through the list of coaches Hubert has beaten in his first 2 tournaments so far. Shaka Smart, Shaka Smart, Marquette.
Shaka's great. Yep.
Scott Drew at Baylor.
Yeah, amazing, incrable.
Mick
the
Cronin,
national championship. He's got a national
champion.
Yep.
I mean, Mick Cronin, who's widely regarded as a great tactician with a UCLA team that was coming off of a Final Four. Yep. Shaheen Holloway. Now Shaheen had an overmatched St. Peter's team, but I think a good up and coming
overachiever,
Coach K. And and then
not familiar.
And now Tom Izzo.
Yeah. Amazing.
And we had Kansas on the ropes. So I mean, it's not like in his first 2 tournaments he's like run through a bunch of like no name cupcake coaches. I mean, and in all of those games, the energy and the effort and the execution, I think matched all of those in some cases legendary Hall of Famer type coaches. And so it's time to give Hubert his due as a tournament coach. Again, it's a short run, but what he's done against some of the best needs to be noted.
Agreed. And again, like, that is earned, and I feel like you just kind of reeled off why it has been earned. Missing the tournament and having everything that we went through as a program last year, I think there was some viable questions being said. Okay, like, what's going on with the program? And the only reason that I even bring that up is that it's really hard to pick yourself off a canvas and reestablish your footing and grounding. It's another thing to kind of I don't want to be negative about last year, because obviously Caleb Love is still in the tournament and he's having great success. Arizona's a great team, but whatever was happening last year, it's one thing to go through some adversity and some bumps in the road. It's a completely other thing to be the head coach at North Carolina and to miss the NCAA tournament being preseason number 1
Yeah.
in the nation. So the job from then to now, he definitely answers any and all questions, I would imagine. Now, yes, of course, I want to make the Elite Eight. Of course, I want to make the Final Four and then some. But you're right. We should give him his flowers. The adjustments, the way that he's managed the team. And nowadays, where guys are making $1 million to be at teams, you're like the CEO of a business. Like, it's way more than just coaching a bunch of kids at a university. There's so much things that you have to manage, egos. What are you making? I'm making this. I can't imagine what's going on in that locker room. So, yeah, kudos to Hubert Davis.
Yeah, and I think we've all faced adversity in our lives, and there's hardship that just happens. And for whatever reason, that team last year didn't come together and didn't gel. And but the way that the program and Hubert and the coaching staff has responded, we heard it, in your Kenny Williams interview, talking about how motivated people were when they came back for the summer, and it just had a different feel and hunger, and the fact that's carried them through now to the Sweet 16. Team absolutely deserves it. And you know what? It's hard. So I just pulled up the AP top 25 for this year, and this is a little bit premature because the tournament, is early. Number 1 preseason, Kansas, eliminated. Now I get it; they were without their best player today, but still eliminated. Duke. We'll see what they do in the tournament, but they certainly have not lived up to the number 2, preseason. Purdue obviously had a good year. Michigan State, team we just beat by 16, was 4.
And a 9 seed.
Yeah. I mean, Florida Atlantic was 10th, returning, I think, their top 8. Lost in the first round. Miami of Florida was 13th, didn't make the tournament. I know they had injuries all year. Arkansas was 14, didn't make the tournament. Texas A&M barely got in, although they're playing well now. Kentucky 16. It's hard. Even teams that have a ton of talent and returning talent. Now, ours was historically bad as a preseason number 1, but still, you can see this across the landscape now is, getting a team to gel. It's not just about having talent. It's so much about chemistry and, the way that we talk and communicate and the way we play with joy and togetherness and root for one another, different people stepping up big. We'll see where the run takes us from here, but this is the mark of a good, well-coached team, and just so much fun to watch.
Yeah. I'm going to say something outlandish, but I think anyone that watched the game, anyone that didn't watch the game and they're watching this because they're a Carolina fan, they want to know what went on. They're going to be like, that's kind of a wow. I got to see this game. That might have been, if not the greatest 2-point, 1 rebound performance I've ever seen from a player in Seth Trimble. I want to give Seth Trimble, like, literally, I thought about making him the player of the game. I mean, you look at his line. He played 17 minutes. He had 2 points and 1 rebound. I think he ended up with 2 blocks. But not all plays are created equal. And if you love football and you watch all the sports talk stuff and like the Cowboy stuff, everybody's always over critiquing Dak Prescott. I'm a Washington fan, so I don't like the Cowboys, but I'll even back Dak Prescott in that I think he's a good player anyway. They're like, oh, these yards are empty calories. They're down 50, and he's slinging it around the yard. And he ends up with 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. This line, 2 points and 1 rebound, you're like, well, he didn't really have an impact on the game. He made plays in certain runs of the game where we needed the ball back. They're making a push. He takes away 2 points, gets us the ball back. We score. And, you and I, Ashley is a guy that has been on our show before and someone that we love. He texts both of us. We're tough to beat with a third score. When we get contributions from guys outside of RJ and Armando, we are really, really tough to beat. So Seth Trimble was amazing tonight. I thought you could obviously say Ingram was just incredible. He's the other guy that you can make a very clear-cut case for player of the game. But those contributions from those guys just, I feel, are almost immeasurable.
Yeah, we're not going to lose many games when Harrison and Cormac go a combined 7 of 12 from 3. particularly when we got the contribution we got off the bench. I mean, like you said, Trimble easily could have been player of the game. I actually think it's 3 blocks. I guess they didn't credit him for the one, but
Amazing blocks too, like breakaway. This is 2 points. They're going
oh
to get
yeah,
to, or they're going to the line, and he
yeah.
just made insane plays.
And they were at critical times. And really, Withers, he had that three possessions in a row. He had one where he they got the rebound, defensive rebound. He kind of poked it off the guy's leg. So
Yeah.
we got it back. And then that was the possession after that where RJ banked in the three.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think next possession, he got an offensive rebound put back. And then next possession, he had a great dive cut from the corner when they doubled Mondo. Mondo found him for a layup. So, he brought energy and I thought really contributed. And Jalen getting 4, is big. You had a big putback, nice face up. Yeah, so it's good to see, that kind of contribution. So yeah, I mean, it's one of these games like almost like across the board. Yeah, I thought everybody played their role and contributed, and
Agreed.
and, yeah.
How much do you buy into the plus minus? Because I'm not a huge plus minus guy. Every single player on our team except for one was in the positive on plus minus, and the one person that was -7 was Trimble.
Yeah, I think it can be deceiving.
That is very deceiving.
Yeah, I think it can be deceiving. Maybe in the NBA game or something, where you've got longer games and sort of more balanced minutes and stuff, it matters. Or maybe if you're looking over sort of a much longer data set or something, it matters. But I think like for this game, I think looking at isolated plus minus doesn't tell you too much.
Yeah.
Especially
Also,
given the runs, right? Like a little bit was like, when were you on the floor? Like if you were on the floor during that 17-point run, of course it's gonna look pretty good. If you're on the floor at the beginning, less so.
yeah. What do you make of the way they defended Elliot Cadeau today?
Like
I
everyone's
look.
gonna do it.
Everyone's going to do it. So
Everyone's
that's
gonna
what I
do
was.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I kind of like him taking them. But every once in a while, I'm okay with him driving them too. Even
Sure.
in sort of forcing him to collapse, then look to pitch. I think despite him going 0 for 4 from 3, I thought he had a very good game. No turnovers, 4 assists, and so I thought he contributed well. But obviously, if he could just make 1 or 2 of those, it's just gonna totally change things. So
correct.
hopefully they come.
I mean, he passed up. I mean, they were in the paint and he was at the 3-point line. They were a 5-6. I mean, he's shooting off the rack, target practice
I know.
at the end of the half to give it to Harrison, and he drilled it, which was a contested closeout 3, which was amazing. I like him taking, even if he goes over 3, if they're going to guard him like that, I want him to get to over 3 before he stops taking them.
Yeah.
Like I need him to shoot it.
He's got to shoot it with confidence. I think he's taking it reluctantly, and I think he's, it's in his head. And I mean, I know in warm-ups.
Well, it does mess with your mind. It does mess with your mind. If anyone's ever played pickup basketball and they're like, "Yo, he can't shoot, just leave him alone," you're like, "Oh man, now I gotta shoot it. Like I gotta shoot it." And then on the flip side, I mean, I remember we played Buffalo at home, and I hadn't played extensive minutes in a few games. It was my freshman year, and I remember getting in, and they must have, the scouting report, here's the shooter or whatever. Like, oh, shooter's in. So I was like, oh, I'm the shooter. Yeah. Like so the first time I touched it, draws, nothing but bucket. Just literally because mentally they're like, oh, we got to pay attention. They were in a zone. They're like, yo, find the shooter. And as soon as it touched my hands, bucket. And so I just need him to hit 1 or 2, but I am concerned because it is challenging in a half court set when the other team can kind of play 5-on-4. So anxious and excited to see how Hubert and the staff take this week and, kind of figure out a game plan for that outside of like, hey, you just got to shoot it. You just got to make it. Like it's on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. But overall, incredibly efficient against. I think they were the 5th ranked defensive team coming in. So to put up 47%, 39%, 83% line, put up 85 against that team is really, really impressive overall. I thought we almost went back to 2 years ago and just played through Baycott. which I think was the right thing to do.
Mhm.
And clearly worked. Not only was he able to score through double teams, I thought he picked them apart. I was sort of surprised he only had 3 assists. It seemed like he had more than that.
Well, he had a
Um,
lot of hockey assists.
yeah, that was
He was great today.
yeah. I mean, and so those must have been hockey assists because I feel like he really punished them, and we got a lot of open threes because of those doubles. Um, so anyway, I thought that was a good game plan, worked out well. Hope we
Mhm.
keep doing that. I just think, that's when we're at our best, is when we're playing through him.
Yeah. Also, one of the cool things now he ends up leading us in scoring, 21 and 20 on 15 shots and shoots almost 50% from the field. RJ had a good game. He didn't have a great game, and we still win. I thought that was amazing. Like he didn't go nuclear, and we didn't rely on him to win it all by himself. Now, again, I said it earlier on, and anyone that didn't see the game, you're not going to understand this. Not all baskets are created equally. He hit a big semi-transition three, contested to take it from like 11 to 8. And kept us within striking distance with some big baskets. But he missed a bunch of looks that he usually makes. He banks in a dead away three. That was luck. So we win without RJ having one of his better. I mean, he was RJ. He had 20 points in a second round game in the NCAA tournament. You can't shake a stick at that. But like I said, he wasn't Superman. And I love that we were able to find a way to win without him going nuclear.
Yeah, we're better, I think, when we're able to be well rounded like this.
Of course, not even
It,
no question.
yeah, so absolutely, and we may need that type of performance, to really continue this run in one of these games, and I'm sure he has it in him. But it's
Mhm.
great that he doesn't have to try to put on the cape and do it every time. And to his credit, he very very few times this year, maybe in the NC State game in the second half in the ACC
Yeah,
championship, it
yeah.
felt like he was forcing it a bit, but really,
Mhm.
he has played within the rhythm of the offense and picked his spots well. Which is to his credit. There's a lot of people who if they're not getting theirs, they're going to hunt shots and that can compound and sort of take you out of the offensive flow. And he didn't do that at all tonight.
Yeah, I've broken many glasses and many of things in my house watching Caleb Love force things offensively. And again, I am very happy for Caleb Love. They're the first team to advance to the Sweet 16. Until they play us, I'll be cheering for him. I want nothing but good things for Caleb Love. But when he was in a Carolina uniform, one of the things that I struggled with was the rest of the team watching him force shots up offensively and going 3 for 17 and then making three late and going 6 of 20, where people are like, well, that's not that bad. I was like, it was bad in the flow of the game because the rest of the team sat around and didn't get the touches. RJ has been incredible as a first team All American and ACC player of the year. I don't know a lot of situations where he sacrificed the betterment of his teammates for himself to get his line. I think he's towed that line incredibly well. And again, I was just relieved to see that the team stepped up and we found a way to win without him having to put the Superman cape on. So, congratulations to Tar Heel Nation. We advanced to the Sweet 16, and we'll see who we got. We'll see. We'll wait and see. But again, who knows what's going to happen in the Sweet 16? Obviously, Kentucky goes down, and all these, Auburn goes down, and anybody can beat anybody. But I do believe that Michigan State is one of the tougher matchups that we are going to have, and whether it's Alabama or what is it, Grand Canyon,
Grand
that
Canyon.
are one
Yeah.
of those two. I would put Michigan State up there with either one of those teams. So I feel good about our win. I feel good about the week of preparation that we have ahead of us. And it's really cool that we get to keep doing this show for another week.
I'm so happy that we get to do this for another week.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And so happy that, the next week, you kind of get into it. You get to watch some of the highlights. People start talking about the Sweet 16 matchups. It's just nice to be in that conversation and part of the mix. I'm glad I can actually watch the games tomorrow because,
Yeah.
whenever we
Yeah.
lose, it's like very hard for me to watch. So I can
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
relax and enjoy the games and just sort of take it all in, root for upsets, all that stuff. Just be a
Mhm.
fan tomorrow. Yeah, and then you start getting into Wednesday and Thursday, and the butterflies start coming back.
Yeah. Well, we don't. Hey, we can relax. No butterflies for a few days.
My wife, we were walking around the neighborhood earlier today. She's like, "What's wrong? Is everything okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm just nervous. It's just
Yeah.
anticipation."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, "Everything's fine.
Yeah.
I just get my game face on."
The people that are close to me are like, they all checked in last night. They're like, "We'll see you in 2 days, and if Carolina loses, we'll see you in a week." I was like, "All right, perfect. You got me. Great. All right, go Hills. Um, we'll talk about the next show after these games, and we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll do a preview show once we know who we're playing.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
have to do a
figure it
preview
out.
show or later in the week.
Yeah. So anybody that's still watching this, God bless you. Go Heels. What an amazing season it is. In my mind, I was trying to program myself. The first thing that I had written down was just thank the team of how enjoyable of a season it was. And I'm glad that it continues, but I'll reiterate that point before it is time. People are like, "Oh, give people their flowers before they're gone." This season has been incredibly fun. It's been amazing to do this show with you and just to cheer for the team. And so I'm glad that we get to do it for another week. I am insanely grateful for everybody. And man, go Hill, Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.